What
It
do
is
you
what
think is the biggest misconception about Latin kings?
that we're all dolphins.
So it's that. It's that.
That we were the oppressors. I don't know, bro. There's so much different things, bro.
Welcome back. No, I mean to your dog, man.
I know who you're
Yeah.
talking to.
All right. What do you think about the stereotype that gets pushed? You touched about this a little bit earlier, but that all Latin
Okay.
kings are dope fiends. Like people get real disrespectful and say Latin fiends instead. And like, where did this come from?
I mean, listen, bro. Everybody wants to talk about um, oh, Latin Kings is dope fiends, this and this and that. You know what it is, bro? I'm gonna be 100% with you. The older generation, you don't really see on the streets anymore. They all evolved, they all got families, they all working, they've all progressed in life. So obviously, you're not gonna see them on the blocks. The dudes that you see out there running around that's like 60 years old, 50 years old, of course, some of them are fiends, but it's not all just Latin kings. It's not all just bloods because everybody uses, but the focus is because you'll turn around and see some dude on the street with 1,000 beads on that's like 50 years old. You know what I'm saying? Fiend out. Do a lot of Spanish dudes like to do their thing? My dude, a lot of dudes do their thing, bro. But this is like not just kings. This is all type of dudes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. I never did it. Never even thought about indulging in dog food. That's never been my, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, most of the dudes I'm around, we don't, you know what I'm saying? Like that's something that's like, I don't know, bro. Like it gets me mad sometimes because they stereotype it. But at the end of the day, it's like, half these dudes that's over here calling them that they uncles in the closet smoking. This was come on, man. I don't want to hear none of that stupid shit. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
especially when you look at these Reddit posts, man, some of these people, like, they got to be like ops for real. The reason why they saying it.
Yeah, but you gotta understand these are repeat. You're talking about there's certain dudes, and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something, bro. These dudes be talking shit about some of these drug addicts, bro. Some of the realest dudes I seen were drug addicts, bro. Some of the gun clappers that was on Rikers Island in the early '90s would take a bag and blow up half the house. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, listen, bro, to each his own, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's you gotta understand that a lot of the culture from PR and from different places, dudes indulged. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their ticks and tacks. Whether you drink, smoke, sniff, do whatever, smoke weed, whatever. It is what it is, bro. But it just so happens that the dudes that keep going into this revolving system, a lot of them are junkies, you know what I'm saying? And those are the ones that everybody points out, but nobody points out, oh, look at that dude. That dude got his own house. Look, that dude got his own business. This guy's got a record label. This dude got this. No, they always go and point out the one dude that keeps going back to jail because he is a drug addict and he's in the streets trying to feed his habit. You understand what I'm saying? So most of the dudes from my era, you don't even see them go back to jail. They all moved on. Most of the bros that I know that done 15, 20. You know what I'm saying? They come out, they get their lives together, they try to concentrate on the family, make, you know what I'm saying? It's sad that everybody wants to do that, but it is what it is. They want to do that. I know I don't get high. I know my circle don't get high. I know most of the dudes that I deal with, the majority, maybe there's a 20%, maybe 15%, that indulge. I don't know, bro. But it just seems that every single time it's always that stereotype. But you go to the jails now, majority's all what? Blood? You gonna tell me they're not getting high? There's a lot of bloods getting high when I was there, you know what I'm saying? So this shit is just corny, bro. You know what I mean? Like it is what it
Isn't
is.
it against the manifesto though to be using?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is. It is. That's what I'm telling you. You're not supposed to indulge in any heavy drugs that could take you out of your character. Any heavy drugs. The only thing that legitimately was weed and hash. But you know, times change, and certain people used to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell you I never seen it. I mean, when I was in jail and I used to see dudes do it, I used to tell them, "Yo, go to your cell, lock in your cell, don't come out your cell until you sober up." You know what I'm saying? 'Cause some dudes needed it. You know what I mean? That shit is a bad habit, bro. You know what I mean? Like, just like gambling, just like anything else. But
You could
that's
be
how.
addicted to anything, man. So
Yeah, but that's another reason why a lot of dudes got kicked out of the whip. You know what I'm saying? People not talking about that's again we go back into the past circle of why some dudes became blood because they couldn't abide by the rules and regulations of the nation. You know what I'm saying? This isn't for everybody. The nation wasn't for everybody, bro. A lot of people were bandwagon. A lot of people really believed in the cause. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people believed in that they were defending the weaker, that they were defending the Latin people. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it's like anything you do, you have the good and the bad. Just like you got cops that are straight up cops, that are good cops that are there to make a difference. And then you got the crooked dudes that, sticking up dudes, setting dudes up, taking bricks, taking money under the table, just like COs, just like judges, just like all type of things. So, you know what I mean? But it just seems like the focus is always that one dude that's on the block with no teeth, with 1,000 beads on, bro. That doesn't reflect the people I've been around. I've rarely seen people like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. And most of those dudes that you do see like that are not even on account or don't even be around bros, because if a bro sees you like that, yeah, we're not gonna get into that.
right,
But
got you.
you know what I mean? Like it's just, that's it's sad, you know what I mean? But like I said, a lot of the older generation, from my era, from the 90s and stuff, bro, a lot of them have moved on to run businesses, managers of all type of businesses, they own all type of different things, tow truck companies. Like I said, everybody moves on just because you don't see them in the street. That's why people say, "Oh, you don't see kings no more." No, they still there. It's just they're not on the block hanging out. They're not flying colors. They doing what they supposed to do, taking care of their castle, taking care of their family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna be on the block hanging out. Yeah, I'll go to events if I gotta go to something, and I'll check in and whatever. But I'm not on the block hanging out with them doing anything. Nah, bro. I'm not putting myself in a predicament that I'm gonna go get caught up in an indictment or get caught up um and something that I'm not supposed to, bro. I work hard for my money, like I said. I sweat hard, and that's what I do. I come home, I relax, and I come home to play with my dog, and you know what I mean? Like that's it, bro. I don't, you know, like I said, look, there's like 10, 15 co-defendants that just came home from a big long indictment. Bro, out of the 15, maybe two of them went back to prison. The rest of them all got their shit together. The youngest ones obviously went back because they still haven't, learned their lesson, or they still got that street energy. But the older ones came home, had babies, got married, started their own lives, got business, got truck drivers licenses, got their lives together, bro. You know what I mean? It doesn't take away from them being kings. I think they're always gonna be kings and they're always gonna love the nation. But the nation sometimes, it's like anything. There's good apples, there's bad apples. It's all what you do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just not gonna get too into everything, you know what I mean? But you know,
What
it
do
is
you
what
think is the biggest misconception about Latin kings?
that we're all dope feet,
So it's that. It's that.
that we were the oppressors. I don't know, bro. There's so much different
I
things,
mean,
bro.
because like online, you read all types of shit, and people are all like,
Because
"Oh,
those
if
are the ones that's still there, bro. Like, you gotta understand, bro. If it's like, for instance, when I was locked up on my case, I was on the island for 34 months fighting my case, right? All over the place. And you would see the same dude come in like 10 times, cracked out, doped out, whatever. I'm not talking about King. I'm not talking about, yeah, I'm just talking about regular dude. Dude will be there for a month. All of a sudden, dude's stocky as hell, getting, but he's a fiend. Gets out, comes right back. Comes out, goes back, right back. So these are the dudes that they see. These are some dudes that were kings at the time, younger dudes that their habit progressed or whatever, and they continue to go back. So the person that they always see in jail going in and out is the fiends, because they're always getting picked up at a spot. They're always getting picked up here. There. Bro, you don't see none of the older dudes doing none of that stupid shit, bro. You don't see none of that. And look at the young generation. Young generation is on a whole different wave. Them dudes be on some, I don't even know the type of shit they be on. They be on this weed, the lean, it's a
Perks.
whole different. See, but the perks, pills, opiates always lead back to the dog food, which
It
those are the
does.
ones that always that's like the generation from like the 70s that moved into that. You know what I'm saying? That was the like everything came back in a cycle. Like when I was growing up, before crack hit, it was heroin. Heroin was like the fucking thing. Used to walk in my building, find dudes in the as a little kid going to school. I remember that shit. Bro, Yonkers dude be in the fucking hallway with a needle in his arm. Mother, you gotta walk around the dude, vomit and you know what I'm saying? And then all
Well,
of a
because
sudden,
you're talking about around Vietnam time
I'm
too.
talking about like the when I could remember, like from like 77, 78,
Right, but
79.
that was around that time where like
But
it
there
was
was
pure.
everybody was like doped out. Then all of a sudden, like in the early 80s, is when it switched
Right.
from being the lean to the crazy dances and the crackheads. You know what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden the crackheads phased out and boom, the dope came right back because of the pills. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a cycle. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the thing that I remember, but yeah, that's a misconception. Yeah, don't get it twisted, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. Don't go down one of these Chicago blocks and think you're gonna find a dude, or go down a New York block and think you all you're gonna find is junkies, bro. You'll be
Right.
real surprised what you find, bro. You know what I mean? Don't go looking for something you don't want to find.
What about them saying that if you're a Latin king and you have a son, they're all automatically a Latin king and required to be one?
They're not required to be nothing, bro. Bro, you teach your kid is like I told you and I spoke about it before. You know what I mean? The kings, you teach your kid certain morals, just like the nation taught us certain morals. You're taught to respect other people. You're taught to be honest with other people. You're taught to show different type of unity among the family. You teach them. You know what I'm saying? You love them. You understand what I'm saying? These are things you do with your kids regardless. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that there was a generation of us that were lost. We didn't have identity of who we were because you got to understand, most of us were born here in New York, and our cultures come from salsa, flamenco, cumbias, different type of music. We didn't even listen to that type of music unless it was in the house. So we grew up on hip hop. A lot of us grew up on hip hop. So the nation kind of taught us our history and brought us back to a lot of our roots
Cultural
and
identity.
cultural identity, exactly. And when you start fighting for your people, when you see the abuse that was going on with the Latins that were coming in, like I told you, you gotta understand, a lot of the times when in the early 90s, people that were getting picked up didn't even speak English, bro. So these are the people that are targets when they go to prison. They're weak because they don't know how to defend themselves verbally. So forget about physically. If you can't even ask for the basic necessities, how you even gonna defend yourself when it comes to certain things? You know what I'm saying? So they were basically the targets. And that's where, you know what I'm saying? One of the reasons I had became a member of the nation was to stand up for the rights of my people. You understand what I'm saying? So, a lot of people had different experiences being a king. It's not the same experience is not for everybody. Like I said, some people do foul things no matter what you're in. Some dudes will try to fuck your girl the minute you turn around. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things, but there's rules and regulations and codes of conduct that are taught. It's not, they don't teach you to hurt your brother. They don't teach you to assassinate his character or talk shit behind his back. You know what I'm saying? The nation to me made me a man. To be honest with you, I was a lost kid, bro. I was wild, bro. I was wild. I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I was out of control at one point. You know what I'm saying? And it gave me a purpose. You know what I'm saying? That's my experience. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody might not have had the same experience. You know what I'm saying? And certain people
And different
just
chapters are kind of ran a little different
every
too, right?
everybody listen. I can't tell you what the chapter down the block is doing. How can I tell you what the chapter in Chicago and LA or
Right.
in Ecuador or in DR or whatever's doing? We all have the same foundation, you know what I'm saying? But remember, every chapter has their own rules and regulations, their own leadership, their own things. So at the end of the day, yeah, we're all brothers because of the flag and certain the foundation is the same, but it doesn't everybody's not the same, bro. Every rule that's here in New York is not the same rule from Chicago, and every rule that's in Chicago is not the same rule in Florida. So
Would you
I,
compare it to like Christianity in different churches and how the leader of that church, the pastor, the priest, whatever, the way that they interpret the Bible and the way that they teach it to their congregation and stuff? And, you know,
that's a good way of putting it, but it's also your environment. It's not just that because it has something to do with that because let's say the Bible is the holy book of Christianity. And then there's different versions of it and different things, but the actual foundation is the same. No, it's not um so easily said like that because the book is the book. There's no other interpretation. The laws and regulations is what it is. But different things get added because of the environments and different places there. And like there's certain places that where you're not allowed to wear, let's say, yellow or any apparel because of whatever the reason is, or you're not allowed to salute in public because you're under. So each chapter has different rules and regulations. I can't get into everything that's going on because at the end of the day, I really don't know because I could just speak for what I live and what I did. Understand what I'm saying? But and where the chapters where I came up in, if we knew a brother did have a drug habit, or was that honestly the first thing would be try to help him. Sometimes it was tough love. Sometimes it was a mandated drug program to get their shit together. Like it wasn't just oh you're out of here, but you know what I'm saying because at the end of the day these are our brothers, so you can't just what I'm saying shun them. That's what we're supposed to be there, good and bad situations. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, bro, everything is not what it seems. Like like I said, there's good brothers, there's bad brothers. You know what I'm saying? Brothers fight, brothers that. But at the end of the day, the foundation is the same wherever you go. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter where you land, wherever it is. The law of the land is the law of the land. There might be a little bit of rules different here and there, but yeah, that perception or that is not what you think it is. You know what I mean?
right.